On this episode of China Uncensored, Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un have solved the nuclear crisis, thanks to China. The Chinese Coast Guard is caught stealing fish near the Philippines. And the story you've been waiting for. A Chinese doctor pulls a live leech out of a guy's nose. Really, just skip to that part. This is China Uncensored. Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Now, I wasn't personally in Singapore this week during the summit between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un, but you know who also wasn't? China. Probably. Actually, maybe they were listening in. Who knows? But even if they weren't officially there, that didn't stop Chinese officials from taking all the credit for the positive outcomes. Yes, China's role was indisputable. Getting Trump to agree to halt America's big joint military exercises with South Korea, that was originally China's idea. And if Trump starts lifting sanctions on North Korea, which he has not done yet, by the way, but if he does, that's also China's idea. And having the summit end in paperwork instead of nuclear war? Obviously, China's idea. And the lunch menu? Definitely China's idea. Chinese telecom company ZTE has lost about $3 billion this week, which makes me feel a lot better about how much money I've lost in student loans. Okay, not really. $3 billion is about 15% of ZTE's stock value, but it's still the world's fourth largest maker of telecommunications equipment, things like cell phones and routers. Back in April, the US had put a 7-year ban on ZTE, forbidding it to buy any parts from US companies. That's because ZTE had violated US sanctions by selling made-in-America parts to North Korea and Iran. I'm sure it was an honest mistake. As part of a settlement with the US government, ZTE has to pay $1.4 billion in penalties. It also has 30 days to fire all members of its leadership at or above the senior vice president level. Okay, so it fired a few people. No big deal. Wait, what's that, Shelley? That could result in about 40 senior executives being replaced? How many senior vice presidents does a company need? About 40, I guess. The Chinese Communist Party has plans to put a radio frequency ID chip in cars across China starting July 1st. Officials have described it as a way to help ease worsening traffic congestion, partly because clogged roads contribute to air pollution, which is why it's being implemented by the Ministry of Public Security. Now, while this whole chip tracking your car thing may sound like some scary Big Brother type surveillance plan, don't worry. It's voluntary. For now, that changes on January 1st. Then it'll become mandatory for all new vehicles. But even without this ID chip program, the Ministry of Public Security can still track wherever you go. They've got 200 million surveillance cameras across China, and they can already track your car by its model, color, and license plate number. Speaking of vehicles, truck drivers across 9 provinces in China have been protesting. They're gathering in parking lots and even on major highways. The truck drivers are complaining about high gas prices and excessive highway tolls. But also, they're kind of mad about how the police keep harassing them. Overthrow the Chinese Communist Party? Whoa! People aren't supposed to think like that. No. They're supposed to be patient while the Chinese Communist Party fixes all the problems it totally didn't cause in the first place. And now, off the roads and into the sea, the South China Sea, where Filipino fishermen are accusing the Chinese Coast Guard of stealing their fish. Now, I know it seems unfair that people who have boats like this would need to steal food from people who have boats like this. But the Chinese ambassador explains.
This is not harassment, this is not confiscation, it is some sort of barter trade.
Yes, the kind of barter trade where a Chinese Coast Guardsman boards a fishing boat and puts their fish into his laundry basket. And in return, the Filipino fishermen get angry. Well, that's a good trade. Man, it sucks when your crimes get caught on video. And finally, the story you've been waiting for, unless you skipped ahead. A Chinese doctor removes a live leech from inside a guy's nose. Yeah, I'd be surprised too if I were that guy. He's a 51-year-old from Yunnan province. Apparently he'd been suffering from a nosebleed for 10 days, when he finally decided, you know what, maybe I should see a doctor about this. And the doctor decided, you know what, maybe some random person should stand next to us and shoot a video of this whole thing. It's gonna be amazing. The guy thinks he got the leech in his nose when he went swimming in a river, which is why I'm never going swimming again. And that's it for this week's headlines. But stay where you are, because it's time for another fan question from one of our amazing fans who supports China Uncensored on Patreon. T-Yok asks, do you think it is still worthwhile going to China even with all that's been going on? I've been accepted for a study abroad opportunity in Shanghai, but a lot of the stuff I hear has me second guessing due to safety and political concerns. Great question. Going to China could be interesting, but also unnerving. Everyone has a different experience. If you decide to go there, there's obviously things you should be careful about, like don't talk about politics in class, and use a VPN when you go online, just not one made in China. And of course, don't go swimming in any rivers. On the plus side, you'll probably meet a lot of cool people. Look, you'll be fine if you just follow all the rules. But just keep in mind, authorities could be monitoring what you do. And don't try to break anyone out of a labor camp. I know a bunch of China Uncensored fans are actually foreigners living in China, so maybe you guys can help out too. Give him your advice in the comments below. What's it like as a foreigner studying in China? What should you be careful about? And to everyone, thanks for watching this episode of China Uncensored. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time. Well, that's all, folks. But remember, there's a lot more great China Uncensored episodes to see. That's why you can click here and here to watch some of our recent episodes. And click this orange button to support us through the website Patreon. We're funded mainly through support from viewers like you.